Welcome back to the Story Seeker podcast. This is episode 6. In episode 5, I had no notes whatsoever, just all off the dome. Today I have a relatively long list of notes, which you can find in the description of this episode, if you'd like to see what I'm working off of. But I tend to just write notes when I have ideas during the week, but at any time, just write them in the page for episode 6, and just any ideas that I think would be interesting to talk about here. And there's definitely, I think I've mentioned this before, but there is an interesting dilemma, an interesting conflict in terms of what to talk about on the podcast, how personal to get, and considering the people that watch this podcast or potentially could watch this podcast, how much information I want to share about certain things. So a cryptic beginning to episode 6. I hope you like the setup today. I thought it would be cool to have some bokeh in the background of the city behind me. It's not the most lit up part of this city. I keep looking at the monitor that's above the camera instead of the lens itself because it's facing towards me, so I'm going to try to stop doing that. Anyways, I'll get into my actual talking points. But in general, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to get into another episode. So the first note I have is about my friend Aaron and some videos that he's been making lately. He made 2 videos that he posted on his Instagram, and I was really inspired by them. And I think each of them start with this week in stumbling through college, and then he narrates different things that happened to him that week, and just random musings and interesting things and feelings that he's having. And he talks about how I remember he said like the uniquely college feeling of getting home and it not feeling like home, and how he wished he studied more for his final instead of going out the night before or something, whatever. But I thought it was just a really cool format and a really cool way to concisely, quickly share ideas as he has them. And that's definitely something I've been missing since getting to college, and I'm kind of inspired to maybe do the same thing or something similar. It doesn't have to be structured necessarily, but just getting back into making short form content. There's the side of short form content that I've made, which is tutorials and things that are meant to grow my accounts and grow my followings and, be sort of business, bring in leads for my business. But at the same time, there's also definitely a place for, and I've enjoyed in the past, using them as a opportunity to share ideas quickly in the moment, rather than thinking about something and then spending a bunch of time to make a whole YouTube video about it, and that will take a lot longer, or a whole narrative film about it, which tends to take a very long time. And I'm working on one of those right now, and I would like to talk about it. But there's also just something really attractive to me about videos and art that is obvious in a way. In school, I've watched a lot of films and things that are just super subtle, super quiet, just like, I don't know, it's hard to take much out of them, take much meaning sometimes, and there's the whole thing of the viewer gives things meaning, and I'm not like hating on that style, but I don't know, I guess it's just gotten really repetitive for me personally, and the environment that I'm in, watching these things over and over, and a lot of them are like this. we watched a film in my film class called The Passenger, which stars Jack Nicholson, and it just like almost nothing happens in the whole movie, and it's not almost nothing, not that much happens, but also like what does happen is just confusing and not really it's just weird. And our teacher like was literally explaining the class after we watched it, like there's barely any plot that we can really like tell, there's barely any character that we really like get to know. Like it's just explaining basically, in my opinion, all the reasons why it sucks or why it's not entertaining to watch. Whatever. Long rant to just say that I think that there is a place for art that is straight up, that is very direct, that is just talking directly from the artist to the consumer of the art. I think that can be really powerful. And I don't know, it's just like so much can be transmitted in short videos of someone just talking directly to an audience, or writing where, you know, just things that acknowledge the position of the artist and just they don't try to hide behind some sort of artificial reality of a narrative. And I'm not saying that narrative is bad at all, just that this is cool too. And I don't know, I suppose it's weird because I've always been on the side of the social media side, the side that I'm sort of advocating for right now, of, you know, everyone knows who is making this piece, and no one, and often people are not even viewing it as art, and maybe the person is not making it, and even the creator is not considering it to be art, whatever it is. But I don't know. I guess like, I don't know. But the reason why I really thought of it was just because I have been working on the film, which I talked about in episode 5, called Sonder. For a little refresher, or if you didn't watch last episode, Sonder is a word that comes from a book called The Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. And the definition of it is the sudden realization that each random passerby is living a life as deeply vivid and complex as your own. And just some background on the film. And I'll talk more about progress on the film, which has been exciting, soon. But I was working on that film, and then I went on Instagram and I watched Aaron's video. And I was just like, wow, you know, I was kind of struggling through, I don't know, it's challenging making a narrative film and trying to get viewers to understand what you want them to understand and get out of it what you want them to get out of it. And I have a very specific feeling that I want to be evoked with this film. I want the audience to feel Sonder themselves by the end of it. And that's hard. At least it's been hard for me. And, you know, it's in some ways so much easier to be more direct about things, and just talk directly to an audience, which is what I'm doing right now. And I just told you about Sonder, and maybe now the next time you experience it, if you have experienced it before, or I don't know, maybe you'll think of me, or you'll think of the word Sonder if you never knew that it had a label, or and that's real impact. And it took a lot less work for me to record this episode and sit behind this microphone and just talk to you about it than to make this elaborate narrative trying to evoke this emotion. And again, this is not to say that there's no merit in narrative film. Absolutely not. But I suppose just that I have an appreciation for both. And And honestly, I don't know. I don't know how much of an appreciation I really have for narrative film. And part of that is just the very limited amount that I've consumed of it myself. So I suppose I'll go into talking about Sonder next, because I already started. So the last time when I recorded episode 5, I believe I had someone who had agreed to be the protagonist in the film. Maybe not even that at that point, but I'm not sure if I had decided yet that I wanted to finish it before break or not. I decided that I wanted to shoot as much as I could, hopefully the full everything, before winter break. My winter break, tomorrow I have a final exam for my screenwriting class, and then after that I'm done. I'm free to go. Semester officially ends on Friday, or final exams officially end on Friday. However, I'll probably leave on Thursday. Anyways, and the lead actor in the film is leaving tomorrow, and it's shot at night, so tonight would have been the last night to possibly film. And so it was a quick time frame from when I decided that I wanted to shoot it before break to actually having to do it. On Friday, this past Friday and Saturday nights, it is Monday night as I'm recording this, we shot for about 3 hours each time, and were able to shoot enough usable footage to for me to put together a rough cut of the film during winter break, which I'm happy about. I'm really happy with some of the footage. I'm not as happy with some of the with the rest of it. There are some things that I might want to reshoot after winter break. No matter what, there will be some shooting being done after winter break. But in general, I think it will be really valuable actually to have shot some stuff, production phase, make a rough cut, knowing that there will still be more, but that there's enough to make this full film that I wanted to have, and then be able to watch that and say, okay, like having watched an edit of the film, like what do we need to reshoot? What do we need to add to this? What do we need to take away? Because usually in editing, you have some options. You have the option to take things away. You have the option to change the order of things, or maybe subtly change things based on, how you put clips together. But for the most part, and often in the editing process, I'll be shooting random inserts of, someone's phone or, in their hand, or little details like that we didn't bother to do on set that are very easy to recreate and just, insert in. But nothing substantial that's changing the story or how we present it, really. But in this case, we will have the opportunity to do that, and that's really exciting, because I have a feeling that I'm gonna, make the edit and have some changes that I want to be made, and that almost always happens. But in this case, we will really be able to make those changes, hopefully. So that will be cool. After we wrapped Sonder on the second night, I had a feeling, just a wave of emotion that, maybe it's not so bad here. Maybe I don't need to leave. Maybe I don't need to drop out of school. And I'm not saying that's happening. I'm not saying it's happening either way. But just had a real feeling of like, this is okay. Like I can live with this. And having passion projects to work on for me is so important. And that's something that I think I'm learning, because I don't know. I suppose I've known it other times when school has gotten really busy, high school, and not being able to do things and feeling that, but definitely here for like an extended period of time, really not doing much for myself has been eye-opening. And I was talking to my friend, and he was really surprised to hear Lucas, who I mentioned in the last episode, also a film major. I was talking to him and just saying that, like, I'm not really proud of anything that I've made here, and not just in my classes, but during my time here in general, which is really sad, especially considering the fact that I'm in film school. But I don't know. I was, pride, or just any emotion. It's all a spectrum, right? To an extent, not even a spectrum is like is an oversimplified way of even saying it, but a web, maybe, a 3-dimensional web or something. But there are projects that I have some amount of pride in. It's not like I hate everything I've made or anything like that. But there's nothing I feel really proud of. There's nothing I've made that has been like, this tops like related things I've made before, I guess. I don't know. Like, I wrote a screenplay this semester for my screenwriting class throughout the entire semester. Do I think it's the best screenplay I've ever written? I don't know. And that's kind of sad, because I got a lot of feedback on it from people whose opinions I really value. My teacher is a really good professional screenwriter who I think has really valuable feedback for us. And the fact that I was able to workshop it over, 2.5 months, September, October, 3.5 months, September, October, November, half of December. Like, I had that much time and that much feedback, and getting feedback and criticism on each part of the each step of the way. And still I'm like, I don't know, maybe I was probably more happy with my script for Random Ideas. Maybe my standards have increased. Maybe I know better now. It's like I know what I don't know. I know that I'm like not a great screenwriter. I know that I have a long way to go. And so that's why I could definitely be part of it. And I don't know. Screenwriting is a class that I wish I put more effort into. I wish I put more effort into the screenplay that I wrote in the class. I would often just like throughout we would have homework due in a week, between each class. I had that class once a week, and I would get the assignment and tell myself, okay, I'll like think about it throughout the week, and if any ideas pop up, I'll have ideas throughout the week. And really, I realized eventually that I need to actively sit down, and maybe not sit down, maybe walk around, but I need to actively decide to think about it and work on it in order to have ideas for the most part. It's not often that I'll just randomly have an idea for a project unless I'm actively thinking about it. Or, yeah, especially for something, especially when I'm not, already super excited for it. And when it's a school project, it is a bit more difficult in that, to be motivated in the same way. But since I feel like I missed an opportunity there a little bit, and so yeah, I think I got things out of that class. It was the class I expected to get the most out of from the beginning, and I think it is the class I got the most out of, probably. But I think I could have gotten more. So that's, I think, a mistake that I hope to learn from in future classes. I'm not sure how I got into pride. Yeah, being proud of projects. Yeah, so it's all to what extent am I proud of these things. But yeah, there hasn't been anything where I've been really excited about it and like really, really hyped to show people, and that sucks. I really, really want to have that. And I hope Sonder will be that. And that's why I'm committed to revising and working through that process. Really, really want to make it something that I'm very proud of, and I think it can be that. I think that the idea is solid. I think it's a small enough scope that it's realistic to do. Yeah, but I do think at the moment it's towing the line of like, I'm not sure. The rough cut, I'm not sure how proud of that I will be. We'll see. Anyways. So, I'll talk about my feelings after wrapping Sonder. I don't think there was really anything more to say there. Maybe I'll come back to that topic of passion projects and all that stuff. On the topic of screenwriting, I'll continue discussing that. I brought in a few notes from my screenwriting lectures because I think some of them are really interesting. Most of them that I brought in are just general sort of life quotes and ideas that were brought up in class because they pertain to how we write stories and write characters. And then other ones are specifically related to screenwriting. I'll just get into them. Each person carries its opposite within. Good and bad, brave and cowardly, depending on circumstance. I heard this and I really related to it. Yeah. Like, sometimes, you're just like confidence and unconfident, whatever the opposite of confidence is. And it feels like it comes from the same place in a way, like the fear and the courage. It's hand in hand. Like, it's the same muscle almost in the brain, but it's just, where do you fall on the scale in that situation that you're in? I don't know if that resonates with anyone else, but it's an interesting thought. And then, yeah, there's a quote: "Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage." That definitely, lights a fire in me a little bit. Just like makes me think that I should do crazier things. Not like, I don't know. I made that sound like different than I meant it to, but I don't know, just like makes me want to act on the desires that I shoot down a little bit. Makes me want to drop out of school. That's one way of saying it. Going into some screenwriting related ideas. Screenwriters are moles that dig stories that are truthful. Which I think is interesting. We talked about the story world, the world that our story takes place in, or just, not really, but like just the world of stories is life as humans imagine it. So like how we, often don't think about, don't remember as much of the mundane moments, the unemotional moments, those things. Usually in stories we're highlighting the most emotionally potent scenes of our lives. And I think that was just an interesting way of sort of justifying that, why stories aren't completely authentic in terms of, we don't tend to just pick randomly what bit of someone's life we want to show. We pick, the most eventful things that happen to them. We show the climax of, we show the most emotional points that, when we tell stories, we try to dramatize them. I think that's a word. The truth is usually what ends a conversation. I just thought that was really interesting, and sort of alludes or implies that, I don't think alludes is the right word, implies that there's some element of lie, some element of non-truth in most conversation. If the truth ends it, then what was happening before? And then, so for my screenwriting class, we have to submit a final draft of our screenplay by tomorrow at 10 a.m. I think I'm done with mine now. There's definitely more work that I could do with it, and that I might do in the future after the class is done. But I think I am about done with it now. And I don't know, with the whole thing of just working, sorry, I'm kind of multitasking right now, trying to pull something up, but the thing of I completely forgot. Wishing I worked more on my screenplay throughout the semester. And I keep getting the feedback on my screenplay and on one other project that I did that actually, and also my research paper for my English class too. Just a pattern of being told that I'm not digging deep enough, which is really frustrating, first of all. Even if it is true. That, I don't know, I'm too abstract with things sometimes, and I think if you listen to this podcast, you probably appreciate that. I guess probably a lot of the things I say come off as abstract, and part of that is because of what I was mentioning at the beginning of not wanting to get into extreme detail with everything, but it's also just how I think, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, just lost in this script and trying to figure out what the story is and who my character is, and my character is really similar to myself and a story that I lived and am living currently, which makes it, I don't know, really challenging, I think. And I mean, it just goes back to the idea of putting time into it and putting conscious effort into it. But I saw an Instagram post that really resonated with me. It's from Broncas, who I brought up his writing in one of the first couple podcast episodes. I think it was the second one. When you have a question, what do I see you do? You passively wait for the answer to come to you, and postpone giving it concentrated thought. After all, you don't want to force it. You treat your questions with no sense of urgency, and so they pile up. Meanwhile, you become a pawn to others who have answered their questions, and now use you to answer even more. When I have a question, what do? I tell everyone about it, even strangers. I make everyone who will listen a co-conspirator to help me find the answer. I wrap the question around every activity I do, so that movies, books, and even chance meetings give me traces of truth, pieces to the puzzle, and then I fast from all other inputs that aren't turning the heat on. And then the last slide says, become the question until you get the answer. And that just hit me. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I don't know if it's worth commenting on it. Just really made it, I don't know, I felt called out by it in a good way, but also in a bad way. Yeah, I don't know. I think I do just need to put more time and more work into these things and really care about them. And I think I do that more. I have done that more with my own personal work. But this is my personal work now, you know? It's not really, but I don't know. I may as well pretty much treat it as such. I'm choosing to do it I don't know. It's like I choose to be here. I choose to go to school. I choose to study film. I choose the classes that I'm in. I don't totally choose the classes that I'm in, but like, I don't know. There's no point if I'm going to be here in I may as well treat these projects as if I decided to do them, because I have the power to back out. I have the power to not be here if I don't want to be. And so I may as well make the most of it and not just make half-assed projects that don't get me anywhere. Because I made a good amount of those this semester. And, I try not to. I try to put effort into things, but eventually I just often get to a certain point in these projects where I just give up, and I don't put as much time into it as I could have, and end up with something that I'm not overly proud of as a result. And that's what a lot of this semester has been. Yeah. Couple more topics. I think this is, I don't know how long it's been that I've been recording this. I think this could end up being my longest episode. We'll see. Anyways. So I'll talk about a bit more lighthearted topic real quick. I'm in the honors college at Rutgers, and we have to take a few honors classes as a requirement, and I'm not going to get into my feelings about the classes in general, but okay, I'm going to get into my feelings about the class in general. I took a class called Honors Forum, and at the beginning, I didn't understand the class at all. It was, I don't know, I didn't get the point in it. We had all these readings we had to do. It was a lot about like social issues, but then also like we had a group project that went almost throughout the entire semester. We had to make a social impact plan. I don't know, it was just very much not what I expected the class to be. In hindsight, I think it's not as bad as I initially thought, but it was a lot of just like class periods that I felt were completely wasted, in the first at least half of the semester. And I just somehow like split screen my tabs here. Anyways, I'm a bit of a mess right now, if you can't tell. So, yeah. Project, I came into the class late because I added it to my schedule after a week or two of school or something. And so I just got put in a group, and at first I thought, I'll be honest, I didn't like my group members all that much. I didn't think I would like them that much. By the end of the semester, I came to actually be like pretty good friends with them, and just like gradually formed a community in the class. I'm not exactly sure why, but we did a presentation. We worked on it throughout the semester. We presented to our class a bunch of times and got feedback on it and revised things, which was a cool experience. And I've talked about presenting, I think in episode 1 or 2. I like presenting things. I think it's cool. It's powerful and a skill that I want to continue to develop. And this was an opportunity to do that, and I'm really happy with how it went. And it built up to a final presentation, after which our class voted on one group's presentation to present at a collective meeting with about half of the honors college, about 200 to 300 people. And so my group got picked for that, and we did it, and it was a lot of fun. I dressed up in a pretty ridiculous outfit, a turtleneck and a suit, and turned on my British accent, and we made our our goal was to make our presentation funny and interesting and engaging, and something for people to look at that wouldn't bore them to death, because there was like 22 of these presentations, and really they were quite boring, and almost no one did anything fun with their presentations, because it's about social issues and stuff like that. And it's, it's a presentation to a lot of the honors college, and it's like a serious thing, whatever. It's not really that serious, but we snuck Ice Spice into our presentation 8 times and like made a whole bit of that and whatever. It was really fun, and it was a really good feeling to go up and present it. And I just have fun, like being on stage a little bit, and like an entertainer a little bit. And I don't know, I've always known that like that's something that interested me, being in the spotlight a little bit. But most of the time I was just like too scared, too nervous, never like pushed myself to do those things. I just always thought it would be really cool, and like kind of knew that I would like it. And maybe that's the same thing for most people, even people who really hate public speaking. It's like I really was scared of public speaking. Still, I don't know, I guess not really anymore, but like maybe I don't really know. I think it's like one of the most common fears. And yeah, makes me want to go out and, I don't know, find more presentations to do. There was like a TED Talk kind of event that I could have signed up for here, but I didn't end up doing. I didn't know what I would talk about, and I should have done something, to be honest, but I should find more opportunities like that. I think it would be cool. I do think also like doing the podcast and talking to camera a good amount has helped me with public speaking. There's only so much it can do, but it does something. Just puts you in a weird situation. Like, I'm talking to a camera that is lifeless for who knows how long it's been now, but like, it might be close to an hour by the time I'm done. Like, that's really weird and difficult to speak naturally and be normal, I think. I'm not saying that I'm great at it. I'm definitely not. But I don't know. I guess like doing it a good amount, I think it has a positive effect, and it can spread to other things too. I think it can even spread to just talking with people in general. Like, just getting better at formulating my thoughts and speaking them in understandable ways, because that's what I'm trying to do in the podcast all the time. Express myself. Something that I feel like I struggle in. That's why I do this. Anyways, I bring up why I do a podcast every podcast episode. Final thing before I'm done, I want to talk about is just my feelings about winter break. I'm not sure what my feelings are exactly, but I will say I have made some really good friends at Rutgers. I have a relatively tight-knit friend group here that I really love, and I really found people that I connect with. And yeah, like, that's something that I don't take for granted. I didn't take for granted. I didn't expect exactly. Like, I wasn't sure of that. Wasn't sure that would happen. That was one of the things I was nervous about, was like, am I going to find my people? And I'm not sure I found my people creatively. I'm not sure. Maybe some people. It doesn't feel right to me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it will after a year. Maybe it will after 2 years. Maybe it will never. But friend-wise, they feel like my people. And I'm really happy about that. So it's going to be sad to leave them. That was what I was building up to. I forgot I was going to talk about. I'll be sad to be away from them. It'll be weird. I'll be able to see my hometown friends again. Go skiing with some of them. Go skiing in general. So excited. I can't wait to go skiing. Think about it almost every day. Just close my eyes, like, fantasizing. Can't wait for that. Probably 2 weeks. 2 weeks I'll be skiing. That is so exciting. That's so exciting. I can't wait. And yeah, I'll be with my family. I'm going to Florida for about a week. At the start of break, leaving on Saturday, I think. So that's crazy. Warm weather, be nice. And come back, go skiing. Have some time to work on things that I haven't been able to work on. Do the Sonder rough cut. Edit the going to college film that I still haven't finished. And yeah, a lot of things like that. So I'm excited to have the time and space to do those things, but also sad to be away from my friends. And I don't know, I feel like I'm happy here. I'm finally sort of settling in. And I don't particularly want to leave. I'm excited to be home. I'm excited for certain aspects of being home. And I'll probably be excited for certain aspects of coming back when I end up coming back. I suppose a more stable life than I had in high school. in terms of being in and out of school. Being out was always preferred heavily, but now it's more like even. So I suppose that's it. There's definitely more I could talk about, but my brain's working a little slowly right now. I'm a little, I don't know, maybe tired. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know, I kind of want to keep talking, but I feel like at this point I'm just a bit of a zombie. So, hope you enjoyed episode 6. Leave your comments in the comment section. And any thoughts that you have. There were a bunch of really nice comments on the last episode, a bunch of which from people that I know in real life, and I really appreciate everyone who took the time to do that and took the time to watch and is taking the time to watch this. It means so much to me, truly. And yeah. That's it. See you in episode 7. Maybe it'll be in Florida. That would be cool. That would be fun.